I'm afraid you can't help Leonard, Mrs. Tate.
Oh.
I'm so sorry. I know it must be very distressing for you.
Oh, I did want to do something for Lenny. Help him get well again.
Yes, of course. Still, the situation isn't hopeless. Your husband can be a donor.
No. No, it's a sign. Lenny's not going to have that operation. I won't let him.
He's agreed to perform the operation subject to availability. Having a donor on the spot was a help, of course. We can give him a date to fit in with his program.
Oh, good. I'm looking forward to watching Sir George operate. It'll be my first kidney transplantation.
Your what?
My first kidney transplantation.
Please do not use Americanisms while you're in my service. It's public transport, not public transportation, so kidney transplant.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was unintentional.
Never do anything unintentional, especially in surgery.
Yes, otherwise you might end up in jail.
No good worrying about that sort of thing if you want to be a successful surgeon. Decide what is right and then do it to the best of your ability.
Hello.
Neither worrying to the physicians. That's what they're there for.
I like to think we complement each other. Part of a team.
Pills and potions are all very well, but only a surgeon can give a man a new kidney or repair the valves of the heart.
What about preventive medicine?
What about it?
Well, properly applied, it could make surgery unnecessary.
Nonsense. Take this patient of yours, this kidney transplant. He wants to lead a normal life again, play football, have the same advantages as other boys of his age. Surgery is going to do it for him.
I don't know, you're more bother than 3 grown-ups.
Yes, looks as though you had a whole football match going on in here.
I bet you don't know anything about football.
Try me.
What's the name of Stoke?
The Potters. Too easy.
Who's the manager of Liverpool?
King Bill.
Who?
Bill Shankly.
Hello, Leonard.
Hello, Doctor.
Morning, Dr. Thorne.
Morning, Dr. Thorne.
Looks as though you're getting the VIP treatment from the nursing staff.
Only because he can't keep his place neat and tidy.
Nurse.
Oh, try and keep still for a few minutes. Look, Mr. Baker's calling for something. Go and see what he wants.
They're keeping you pretty busy.
Oh, it's like refereeing a football match. You have to watch them all the time, and you need eyes in the back of your head. Oh, thank you, Dr. Thorne.
Who's your favourite nurse, Leonard? Or shouldn't I ask?
Hilda Price.
Looks like you've made a conquest.
Well, that's not bad, considering the competition I've got.
I suppose being a football fan helps a bit, eh?
She knows quite a bit about football. I shall miss her.
When?
Well, you know, I'll have to go into another ward. That's what Nurse Price told me.
Yes, you'll be going into surgical.
How soon?
When they're ready for you. Lots of things to be arranged first.
It'll take a few days then.
Probably, yes. In the meantime, you'll stay in this ward and carry on with dialysis.
Surely there's a case for treatment rather than surgery. Well, it's pleasanter for the patient if we can cure them before you chaps open them up and rummage around.
Rummage around. There's no substitute for a new working part. If the condenser in your car blows, you don't fiddle about. You dispose of it and put in a new one.
Ah.
Oh, well, Matthew.
The perennial discussion. Academic, I'm afraid, so far as the kidney patient's concerned.
Why?
The mother has piolitis.
Silly woman. Should have known.
Well, does it matter? I mean, the father can be the donor now.
Yeah, Mrs. Tate says no. She says her illness is a sign that the boy wasn't meant to have the operation.
Oh, she can't be serious.
She is.
You can't refuse consent.
That's exactly what she has done.
Blast the woman. What the devil am I going to say to Sir George? I suppose Thorne's her doctor, too.
Yes.
Your protege slipped up badly, didn't he?
He suspected something, but wasn't certain. Apparently she contracted it when she gave birth to Leonard. Thorne wasn't her doctor then, and she hasn't been to him for treatment for it.
It's put me in a devil of a position with Sir George.
It's put Leonard in one, too.
But, well, you know what I mean.
Well, you'll just have to tell him that the parents have refused consent.
I'll do nothing of the sort. Anyway, it's not true. What about the father?
Well, he was keen enough. Do you think she's got him on her side?
Get the woman in and we'll talk to her. Get the husband as well.
You'll have lots of important visitors once you get into surgical.
People from the hospital or outside.
Sir George Dysart, he'll want to have a chat with you. Now, he's a very important fellow. He spends most of his time repairing film stars and royalty.
Who's he operated on and what for?
Well, there's Now, that's a state secret. And the chap who will put you to sleep, he'll want to see if your lungs are all right. He'll want to have a chat. And the fellow from the Path Lab, he'll want to see you.
What about you? You'll come and see me again.
Of course. You're going to be kept pretty busy.
That's good. It's getting a bit boring. I'd like them to get on with it.
You won't have long to wait now.
You're sure?
Hello there, Peggy. I was hoping I'd find you here.
Good afternoon, Mr. Answorth.
Albert's the name. I've had a chat with your doctor.
Don't suppose you got very far with him?
I wouldn't say that. Told me how ill he'd been.
Glad he finally realised it. When they brought me in here, I was hardly breathing.
You're looking pretty healthy now.
I don't know how you can say that. I ache in every bone.
Oh, lack of exercise, probably.
There's no need to be facetious, Mr. Answorth.
Sorry, Miss Finch, only trying to cheer you up. Thought about what you're going to do when you get your discharge?
No, I haven't.
Take holiday. Get away for a bit.
Easier said than done.
All you have to do is to go to a travel agent and ask him to put you on a coach tour. The Austrian Tyrol, Black Forest, Switzerland, anywhere you like.
That doctor's been talking to you, hasn't he? Telling me there's nothing wrong with me.
No,
Oh,
no.
I can see the signs. It's all supposed to be in my imagination, isn't it?
Well, you must be feeling better by now, Miss Finch.
Do you imagine your complaint?
Well, of course not. I mean, I'm down for an operation, aren't I?
I see. It's only surgical cases that are real.
I didn't say that.
One doesn't expect sympathy or understanding anymore. Just because one has nothing to show for it doesn't mean to say that one isn't chronically ill.
Oh, yes. One doubts if one will ever leave one's bed again.
One does indeed.
What a load of cock.
I beg your pardon.
It's time you faced facts. There's nothing wrong with you.
I couldn't breathe.
All right, so you had a spot of chest trouble, but that was a couple of weeks ago. You've been stuffed full of every wonder drug known to man, and you're not ill anymore.
Well, I think I'm the best judge of that.
Rubbish. The doctors are the best judge of that.
So they have been talking to you,
Yes.
telling you lies, turning you against me, just like they do every new patient.
So why would they want to do that? You're the one who turns people against you because you're a miserable moaning ninny forever going on about how ill you are and how you won't live through the night. You'll live to be 90.
You're a cruel and wicked man. I don't know how you can say such things. I shall have to go and have a lie down. No, don't you touch me. I shall have to send one of the nurses to get one of the doctors. I feel really ill.
Oh, look, I was only
I don't know
trying
how
to...
you can say such things. I just hope, Mr. Answorth, that you do not have cause to regret the terrible things that you've said to me today.
Oh, blast.
I'll hold you to that, Mabel. Well, how's the famous amnesia patient, eh?
Well, I'm treating her for a foot. Dr. Stern's treating her for a knee.
Oh, why isn't she in one of Stern's wards?
Well, she's better off where she is.
Oh, I see.
Well, I can keep an eye on her.
Gonna do a bit of brain surgery, are we? Open her up and rummage about a bit.
Do shut up, Peter.
What are you doing tonight?
Don't know.
Depends on the latest boyfriend, I suppose.
He said he might ring, but I'm not bothered.
I wish I had fellas running after me like that.
You don't have to do anything. Just play hard to get.
Chance would be a fine thing.
Oh, there must be lots of fellas who'd fancy you, Hilda. You just don't give them a chance.
Well, what am I supposed to do? Stand on the bandstand in the Memorial Gardens, take all my clothes off and shout, "Come and get it"?
Never mind. You'll make a lovely mum one day.
Thank you very much.
I particularly wanted your husband here as well.
He's away.
Where?
In Bristol on business. He's away a good deal.
Why have you changed your mind about the operation, Mrs. Tate?
Well, I mean, if I can't be the donor...
Well, your husband could be the donor.
It's not convenient, is it?
Convenient?
Well, I mean, it's his business. He travels a lot.
I can see there may be domestic problems, Mrs. Tate, but I should have thought in the circumstances.
Well, he's all right, isn't he? I mean, he can go on using that machine, can't he?
He could, yes, but it's not the best way of doing things.
Well, there are plenty of people using machines like that.
Far too many, Mrs. Tate. That's the whole point.
Well, I don't see why Lenny should be made to have an operation just because you don't have enough machines.
Look, it will be better for him, Mrs. Tate.
Anyway, you said he could have a machine at home.
He could. But it's a serious business for a young boy. I think you ought to consider the implications very seriously.
I have done. Look, there are all sorts of people living useful lives. There's a woman in our road. Diabetic she is. You'd never think it to look at her. She never had an operation.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Mrs. Tate.
Now, take a day or two to think things over, Mrs. Tate. I'm sure you will come to realize...
No. I won't agree to that operation. Not ever.
Now, what particular part of the animal do you suppose this is?
Have the police found out anything further about Janet Smith?
Establish the fact that she was on the London-Manchester train.
Yes, well, we found that out from the taxi driver.
They also said they found... They found a handbag in the compartment.
Oh. Any identification?
It was empty.
What about a suitcase?
No sign of one.
Probably stolen.
Almost certainly.
So, we're back where we started, as far as finding out who she is concerned.
You know, I haven't dissected one of these since I did my first MB. But I'd swear it was rabbit.
What's wrong with it?
Nothing. And it's supposed to be chicken.
Thought you were going to start slimming today.
She starts every day.
I get so hungry.
I have to suffer to be beautiful.
You'll have to start sometime.
Okay, I'll start now. Just have one more donut.
I think it is hysteria.
Hysteria.
This may mimic an organic condition which will enable the patient to avoid some distasteful situation. She should be in my ward. I have room for her now.
She is better off where she is.
I am sure that her body is healing splendidly. I am concerned with her mind. I find it very difficult to establish any kind of relationship with her.
Oh, Martin doesn't have any problems.
Well, of course, she leans towards him because he represents something that she needs, security.
She talks to me, that's all.
But she does not tell you anything. Once I have a rapport with her, when she shows personal feelings...
Look, I have a rapport with her. She shows personal feelings towards me. What can you do that I can't?
You are not a qualified psychiatrist. You are a surgeon. Excuse me.
Bloody hedge fingers.
What's biting you?
Oh, nothing.
What about birthday parties? When you were a little girl?
No, I'm sorry, Doctor.
No, it's not a matter for apologies. We will arrive at the answer eventually.
But it's so frustrating.
We have other methods we will try.
What do you mean?
But there's no need to be concerned. We will discuss them later.
But I'd like to...
We must unlock your memory.
That's all you know?
Well, it's not much, I admit, but it's enough to make Dr. Thorne's background questionable.
I find it impossible to believe, of course.
Of course.
Well, thank you, Dr. Baxter. Don't let me keep you.
You will let me know if you hear anything.
Yes, yes. I don't need to tell you to keep this to yourself.
Of course.
It's an unsavory business.
Well, we can't just brush it under the carpet. He was quite right to report it.
I think he enjoyed it.
That's irrelevant. No, he was merely doing his duty to protect the hospital and the patients. I'm sure you do the same. Well, now, I suppose I'd better get on to this Dr. Thorne in Barnes. Oh.
Yeah?
Yes, let's do.
Got a bridge here. All right.
01
I'll be there.
74 3
I'm wanted.
Oh, well, off you go then. I'll let you know the result of the call.
Easy, does it? Oh, you've been spending too much time in that bed. You won't have to walk very far. Nurse.
Oh, no, not crutches. But I feel quite enough of a fraud as it is.
Well, come on. We've got to see how mobile you are. There you go. Just put your elbow. That's it. That's it. We'll just get this one. Ah, very good. Very good. Excellent. Well, come on.
No, I can't.
Yes.
I feel safe here. Does that sound silly?
No. Most of our patients feel that. Their bed is a sanctuary in the busy world of a hospital.
You care about your patients, don't you?
In a surgical sense, yes. How did you get on with Dr. Stern?
Oh, all right, I think. Why?
I just wondered.
Truth is, I feel a bit depressed after one of his sessions.
Yes, well, I must
Oh,
admit
it's nothing to do with him. It's me. I'm such a non-entity, a nobody.
You must be somebody.
I mean, nobody's missed me. Nobody's been looking for me. Nobody's interested in me.
Well, I am. You're my most important patient.
Am I? Truly?
Yes, truly.
I'm glad. What happens when my foot gets better?
Well, we'll have to worry about that when the time comes. Your relatives may have taken you away by then anyway.
Yes, I suppose so. In a way,
What?
I shall be sorry when that happens.
So should I.
But you ought to be glad. Another patient cured.
Yes, I know. I ought to be, but I won't.
Hello, you still here?
Thought you'd gone long ago.
Oh, there's a post-op patient I have to keep an eye on.
Heavy day?
6 hours in the theatre, 3 hours in the last one alone.
Successful?
The operation was completely successful. Now it's up to the patient. You eating here?
Hope not.
Yeah. No, what do you mean?
No, I meant my wife's expecting me home for dinner.
How is she?
Much the same. Can't expect any great improvement.
What's the food like at the Grand these days?
Couldn't say. Long time since I dined out.
I'll try it. Not much point in going home.
How long is it since your wife died?
10 years?
Doesn't seem that long.
No, it doesn't. Sometimes I... What are we going to do about this kidney transplant?
I thought you were going to have a talk with Mrs. Tate.
Ah, got nowhere. She's still talking of having their own machine. Husband's only a mechanic or something, isn't he?
Well, he's rather more than that.
Still, they haven't much money.
He's very well paid. With overtime, he probably makes as much as we do.
What? How incongruous. So what do we do?
Must be some way.
Hmm?
There must be some way of making that woman change her mind.
You find it then. Damn woman. Doesn't she know what she's doing to that child?
You're looking ever so much better, Lenny.
I feel fine.
That machine's a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Yes. Gets a bit of a drag, though.
Oh, you shouldn't say things like that. I mean, without that machine and all the doctors and nurses, you'd be... Well, you'd be very ill indeed.
I suppose so. Why isn't Dad with you, Mum?
He's in Bristol, I told you.
I thought he might have come home.
No, it's a long job, he says.
When will he be back?
Well, I don't know, do I? It depends on the job.
Hello, Mrs. Tate.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Well, what does Leonard think about it?
About what?
Surely you've told him.
I haven't had time. I've only been here a few minutes.
I'll have to tell him sooner or later, Mrs. Tate. See you, Lenny.
Mum, what is it?
I'm only thinking about what's best for you, Lenny.
Yes?
Well, I don't think you ought to have this operation.
What? Why not?
It's too risky. I'd much rather you just stayed on the machine. We can get one at home for you. Your dad and I could look after you.
Dad said I should have a kidney of my own. I'll be able to play football again and be like other kids on my age. That's what Dad said.
Look, why don't you think about me for a change? Anyway, the machine will do all that for you.
You haven't been on the machine. You don't know what it's like. Have you talked to Dad about it?
I haven't had a chance yet.
He was all for it.
Look, he hadn't had time to think it over yet, nor had I. He just couldn't wait to give you one of his kidneys. He never stopped to consider the consequences. And now I can't give you one of mine.
You didn't tell me that.
Oh, didn't I? Well, there's something wrong with mine.
It isn't serious, is it, Mum?
No. No, of course it's not serious. Don't start worrying about it. Anyway, that settled it for me. No operation, no risk.
Dad would take the risk.
No.
He would. He said he would. Was you wouldn't let him.
Look, I'm only thinking about you, Lenny.
So was he.
Goodness sake, leave your dad out of this. Lenny, just do as I ask. And I know what's best.
Look. If Dad said it's okay, I'll manage on the machine.
That's a good boy. I'll tell the doctors.
You must be patient.
But it's not working, is it?
What?
Your treatment, whatever you call it.
It is only a question of time.
But I can remember all sorts of things.
In general terms, yes, but we have to dig out the things that you do not remember. Eh?
It would be nice to know who I am, where I come from.
Yes.
On the other hand, well, it's obviously something I don't want to remember. Perhaps something unpleasant. Really unpleasant.
It is possible, but I do not think so.
You can't possibly know.
It may be something which is only unpleasant from your own subjective point of view. Something which other people would find quite commonplace.
Well, how did you get on today?
No advance.
Oh, dear. You know, it's funny, the press have given it good publicity, but there hasn't been a single reaction. Not even a phone call from the usual nutcase.
That is not a proper term for a medical practitioner to use, Dr. Baxter. Not even a surgeon. Until tomorrow. Huh?
Goodbye, Dr. Stone.
Well, we've got to do everything we can to get your memory back. Shall I start things going?
Well, how do you mean?
Well, it'll take photographers if we do the thing properly.
All right, go ahead. I just hope it turns out all right.